Morning, everyone. In the twisting, turning days of SNC-Lavalin and this liberal scandal that is not going away, Justin Trudeau is just awkward and so weird. Okay, so this is the press conference that I missed last night. I saw it right after I finished my video, and it would have been another 20 minutes of getting the video together and whatever. Anyway, so here it is today. This is what he said to the press last night, and it's incredible. Incredible. He starts with saying, we legalized dying and marijuana too, and I disagree with what Miss Wilson-Raybould said, but I don't want to bury the lead. Justin Trudeau spends the first full minute and 20 seconds introducing the new member from Outremont. Okay, that's this woman here. And she's, a diehard liberal. This is the end of the press conference. He's gone through all the questions and he's saying goodnight, everybody. And I want to show you, this is like, if you've seen Harry Potter 7, spoiler alert, there's a really awkward, weird hug at the end. And this isn't like that, but it's kind of like that. This is so weird. And then we're going to look at his statement. But I wanted to start with this because this just makes me scratch. What are you thinking? Okay, here we go.
Defending our institutions, that is something that this government as a whole takes very seriously and always will. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much.
What? Why the hug? What are you doing? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense at all. It's insane. And what? After a press conference, why a hug? Thanks for supporting me, standing behind me this whole time, looking kind of awkward and smiling. Okay, so here is Justin Trudeau saying that, well, we legalized dying and marijuana, and so our government is good. Let's carry on. Ignore that whole former Attorney General scandal. Nothing to see there. Okay, carry on. Here's Justin Trudeau.
On the justice file over the years, we introduced medical assistance in dying. We legalized and strictly regulated cannabis in order to better protect our kids. And we implemented progressive reforms around criminal justice and sentencing.
So the three big wins the Liberals have that they're running on are legalized dying, medical marijuana, which has had a law passed that criminalizes having alcohol after you get home because the police can now demand a breathalyzer sample 2 hours after you get home. So if you get home at 7 o'clock and the game starts and you have a couple of beers and the police knock on your door and they want to have a breathalyzer, sorry, buddy, you've broken the law, right? That's that. And the reclassification of all of these indictable offenses into misdemeanors that SNC-Lavalin is trying to access. It's the crux of this quagmire, and you're trying to run on it? I guess turn your weakness into your strength, right? I saw that in a movie once. Wow. Okay, so that's what they're running on. That's what they've got this year. Vote Liberal. More of the same. Corruption and insanity. And weird, awkward hugs. Here we go.
Le travail acharné du ministère de la Justice.
Sorry, it was French. Hold on, I'll find the English.
It was important for Jody Wilson-Raybould to speak openly at the Justice Committee today, and I'm glad she had the chance to do so. I strongly maintain, as I have from the beginning, that I and my staff always acted appropriately and professionally. I therefore completely disagree with the former Attorney General's characterization of events.
I'm just going to pause here. If you haven't seen Miss Wilson-Raybould's testimony, a link will be in the description. It's here. It's not a characterization of events. It is notes taken by her and her staff outlining rampant and systemic pressure for months around SNC-Lavalin. It's not a characterization. It is as factual as we can get with our legal system. If this was a case for a private citizen and not touching SNC-Lavalin or anything to that effect, this would be absolutely not okay, right? This would be, if you were putting this kind of pressure on somebody who is not supposed to get pressure, it would be obstruction or there would be consequences to pay. And Trudeau's trying to spin this like, nah, she's got it all wrong. She's misinterpreting it. That Jody Wilson-Raybould, pretty suspect. That's what he's trying to project here. It's pretty incredible, really, because she's the former Attorney General and a former lawyer, and not only does she have notes of her own that she took, she instructed her staff to take those notes. And the staff got emails and texts from the Privy Council, the clerk of the Privy Council, the PMO Chief of Staff, Telford, and the Principal Secretary, Butts. So it's pretty incredible that these people have a paper trail that they gave to Miss Wilson-Raybould. And Miss Wilson-Raybould is using that to inform her testimony yesterday. And Justin Trudeau is calling that a characterization. Mr. Trudeau, you misunderstood the big, really dire-looking words on the cue cards yesterday when people were trying to explain to you how bad this is. This is bad for you. This is really bad for you. I have a poll up on CanadaPoly.com. How long before this government falls? Is it a day or a week, or does it go to budget, or does it go until October? And then I've got another one in there. Dear leader will never leave us. Because at this point, right? If this doesn't bring him down, I don't know what it would take. Like, this is clear law breaking. This is clearly beyond what a prime minister should be doing to intervene in an attorney general's decision when the attorney general herself didn't intervene in the public prosecutor's decision. So it's incredible. Okay, I'm going to carry on back with Trudeau here.
Our government will always focus on jobs and our economy. We, of course, had discussions about the potential loss of 9,000 jobs in communities across the country, including
9,000 jobs in communities across the country, but mostly in Quebec, but across the country. Yes, across the country, I'm sure. Okay, I'm going to pause it here and jump up ahead to when questions start, and we'll go to the question of, will you resign, Mr. Trudeau? Spoiler, he says, nope. Okay, so here is the should you resign question, and man, does he go off. Woo.
Hi, Prime Minister. Vanessa Lee with CTV. The Conservatives are calling for your resignation, and we're wondering if you think you should resign and if you think anyone in the PMO or cabinet should resign.
Canadians will have a very clear choice in a few months' time about who they want to be Prime Minister of this country and what party they want to form government in the general election coming up in a few months. There will be a clear choice to be made between the Liberal Party, this government that has always invested in Canadians, that has created record economic growth, record low unemployment, has consistently stood up for Canadian jobs, consistently defended Canadian jobs while defending our institutions and the independence of our judiciary. And on the other hand, there is a choice of the party that is still very much the party of Stephen Harper, that continues to attack, to divide, to play politics with big issues, and to consider that the best way to create economic growth is still to give advantages to the wealthiest.
Oh, like SNC Lavalin? What a hypocrite. Like, what an out-and-out hypocrite. Stephen Harper, and he'll give all his money to crony buddies like SNC. Oh, right, I guess I shouldn't use that one, eh? Scratch that one off the list, guys. What a joke, really. Like, this is funny at this point in time, because does he believe this? If he believes this, does anybody around him believe this? Look at her face. She's like, oh my God, can you believe this? Not really. I think maybe she's sucking on a lemon or something. Hold on, I'll find the next clip. This one is just incredible because he admits, and this is a press conference after Jody Wilson-Raybould had finished doing the questions and everything, and he admits he hasn't watched it all. What?
Can Jody Wilson-Raybould stay in the Liberal caucus, and will you allow her to run in the next federal election as a Liberal?
As you might imagine, I haven't yet had the opportunity to review her entire testimony. I will do that before making any further decisions.
Incredible. The whole of Canada, I think, anybody who's interested in politics was watching this testimony today, and Justin Trudeau didn't have time. He was busy. He didn't want to bother with that. So link is in the description. Please do go check it out if you are interested in watching the whole thing. Here's Andrew Scheer. Andrew Scheer calls for Justin Trudeau's resignation, and I wanted to show you that because that is important to note. And so questions start at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll watch the first minute or so where he talks about what's going on, and I'll pause the French if he goes into French. So sorry if it's a little jumpy or whatever.
Good evening, everyone. Justin Trudeau simply cannot continue to govern this country now that Canadians know what he has done. And that is why I am calling on Mr. Trudeau to do the right thing and to resign. Further, the RCMP must immediately open an investigation, if it has not already done so, into the numerous examples of obstruction of justice the former Attorney General detailed in her testimony. The testimony Canadians have just heard from the former Attorney General, Jody Wilson-Raybould, tells the story of a Prime Minister who has lost the moral authority to govern. A Prime Minister who allows his partisan political motivations to overrule his duty to uphold the rule of law. A Prime Minister who doesn't know where the Liberal Party ends and where the Government of Canada begins. And a Prime Minister who has allowed a systemic culture of corruption to take root in his office and those of his most senior cabinet and public service colleagues. Like many of you, I listened carefully to the testimony of the former Attorney General. And like you, I was sickened and appalled by her story of inappropriate and frankly bordering on illegal pressure brought to bear on her by the highest officials of Justin Trudeau's government, all to let a Liberal-connected corporation off the hook on serious corruption charges. Before Ms. Wilson-Raybould's testimony, Canadians knew Justin Trudeau had engineered an unwanted, sustained, and coordinated attempt to get Ms. Wilson-Raybould to change her mind and to stop the criminal trial of SNC-Lavalin. Today, thanks to Ms. Wilson-Raybould's testimony, we now know just how intense those efforts were. 10 meetings, 10 phone calls involving 11 senior government officials, relentlessly targeting Ms. Wilson-Raybould over a 4-month period with the sole objective of bullying her into bending the law to benefit a well-connected corporation. The details are as shocking as they are corrupt. Multiple veiled threats to her job if she didn't bow to their demands. Urgings to consider the consequences on election results and shareholder value above judicial due process. And reminders from Justin Trudeau to his Attorney General about his own electoral prospects should she allow SNC-Lavalin's trial to proceed. As Ms. Wilson-Raybould has so clearly articulated, the people Canadians entrusted to protect the integrity of our very nation were instead only protecting themselves and their friends. Let me close by saying that we have entered the final stages of Mr. Trudeau's government. He can no longer, and in good standing, with a clear conscience, lead this nation. As we enter a critical budget debate and with other pressing matters of public interest in need of action, Mr. Trudeau's cabinet must now find a way forward without him, and I urge them to do so. They have a duty to govern this nation, not help a disgraced Prime Minister hang on to power. But my message tonight is this: it shouldn't be this way in Canada, and it doesn't have to be this way in Canada. We should be a country where all are equal under the law, where nobody, regardless of wealth, status, or political connections, is above the law. And I believe we can be that country again.
So you would not give his vote?
Justin Trudeau ne
Okay, and I'm just going to jump around. There's a couple of other parts that I want to show you. That's kind of the main part. There was a part that he says, I call on you to resign. I'm going to get there, but I'll show you a couple of other pieces first. Hold on. Okay, this is, she says, you say it's bordering on corruption, and they're talking about an RCMP investigation. Here we go.
You say it was bordering on illegal. Do you think it was illegal?
When you look at what the law states about the impropriety of interfering and putting pressure on the Attorney General, I believe there are certainly grounds there for a criminal investigation, and that's why I'm also calling on the RCMP to launch an investigation.
So, I mean, that's very interesting. And we're just going to keep watching this part until a specific part, so keep watching.
The whole issue here is many people in Quebec
think it's entirely appropriate to press to save SNC-Lavalin jobs and save those corporate headquarters. The corruption charges aside, where does the Conservative Party of Canada stand on whether it's appropriate to extend the DPA now to SNC-Lavalin?
It's never appropriate to interfere in a criminal process. It's never appropriate to put pressure to try to convince an Attorney General who has already taken a decision on a matter to overturn a decision of an independent public prosecutor. And I am confident that Quebecers do not want to be used as an excuse for Justin Trudeau's corruption. C'est important.
I think that's a great line. And I think hang your hat on that one. That's a good line. Quebecers don't want to be an excuse for Justin Trudeau's corruption. And so we're going to jump ahead to here and watch. Hold on. Okay, this is the question about non-confidence, and here he says we're calling on Justin Trudeau to resign.
A non-confidence motion in an early election?
Well, at this point, we're calling on Justin Trudeau to do the right thing and to resign. He has broken trust with Canadians. It has been proven that what he has said is not true. He needs to step aside.
Okay. Okay, and this is one more talking about criminal code stuff. No awkward hug at the end of this one either.
You want the RCMP to investigate in English, please.
Clearly, there are sections of the criminal code that speak to interference with the Attorney General in the conduct of her duties. Ms. Wilson-Raybauld's testimony this evening clearly spoke to enough of a base for a criminal investigation based on what she indicates happened. Et en français pour...
So we have a prime minister who's deluded enough. Well, here's the space thing that was happening today. And okay, and here's the last clip. This is Trudeau today saying, oh yeah, I watched the rest of that testimony. I still haven't made up my mind if she's going to stay in caucus or not.
Caucus? Have you made that decision now? No, I still have to give this some thought. You said that you didn't have time to listen to all her testimony. I did hear her testimony, but I still have to think about this.
I have taken knowledge of her testimony, and there's still reflections to have on next steps.
I have taken knowledge of her testimony, and there's still reflections to have on next steps. Ooh, that sounds like fancy words there, Trudeau. Is that a new script they're testing out? So we have a prime minister who believes that he's above the law. We have an opposition leader calling for the resignation of the prime minister, and we have a former attorney general who I think has leadership aspirations. So I don't know. It should be a very interesting rest of our week and the next couple of weeks anyway. I really don't know how Trudeau survives this. I don't know how the government survives until budget or passes a confidence vote, because you have to vote for the budget. If you don't vote for the budget, then it's no confidence in the government. And man, those Liberal MPs are going to have to wear that vote back to their ridings, and their ridings are going to have to make the decision on whether they're good enough to continue representing them. I mean, do we want these Liberals representing us further? I mean, criminals and liars is essentially what they're being proven to be. It's incredible. It's incredible. And these are the people governing us. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca.